No, I don't hate women. I don't hate women at all. As a matter of fact, at our assembly, we probably have like maybe like a 60-40, somewhere along there, 60% male, 40% female. The ministry is patriarchal. We're not matriarchal at all. The only men that can actually even come to this ministry and actually really truly comprehend and understand this ministry are those who are patriarchal. A matriarchal man, he has feminine tendencies, feminine emotions. He's eviscerated. He's dominated by the cold shoulder and the rejection of a woman. And men in this ministry, while we do love our wives and we love our sisters, we're not manipulated and we're not controlled or dominated by feelings and emotions. We're mostly controlled and dominated by facts, biblical facts. And we live by the bread of the word. So contrary to popular opinion, I know the picture that a lot of people try to paint, but it's extraordinary the amount of women that are not only here on the internet, but people who come to this ministry, that when they really truly see exactly what I'm saying, they get it. They see the reason why their lives have been miserable. They see the reason why that they have been the cause for separation and divorce is because they're feminists. The female domination. For instance, the home is not even going to run unless she is ruling, in control, and happy. Is that not broke? I mean, according to the Bible, did not the creator of the universe make the man the head of the household? He made him not only the head of the household, the head of woman. Now, they would defy that. And that one day they're going to answer to him for that. But the one thing of my advice I can give to young men and men today is you've got to stop playing this emotional game and stuff, because as soon as you do that, you out of the arena. You're going to lose. You're going to flat out lose, because women are built on emotions. They don't care nothing about facts. They don't care nothing even about what the creator of the universe says. They care little to nothing for it. And they always look for an eviscerated and emasculated man to co-sign with them whenever their emotions or their perceived feelings are hurt. Now, our sisters are strong, very strong. We have a Sisters to Sisters broadcast. If you go to www.blogtalkradio.com/straightway every Thursday, you can go back to the archives and download it. Our sisters are very vocal and very brutally honest about the modern day woman. And matter of fact, both of the women that actually do the Sisters broadcast are educated women. I think, matter of fact, I think both of them have a degree in business administration. But anyway, regardless of that, you don't have to have education to be an open, honest woman. Our women in Straightway is the Proverb 31. The Proverbs 31 women that you all seek for and look for, that is how our women are in this ministry. None of us, including men, none of us, we don't have it all together. But we are farther along than the majority of the men out there in the world. None of the women have it all together. But we are striving, and they are farther along. They are farther along than any women out there in the world. And for this, we give thanks to the Father for. Just the other day, I said to some sisters, I said, now, let me see, is being a mom a full-time job? Because some of them have 2 and 3 children. And they see how important it is for them to pour their biblically moral and value system into them, and to teach the children the way that the Father says in that home right there. And they have nothing to worry about, nothing to be concerned about whatsoever at all. Just beautiful women, just literally beautiful women, beautiful sisters. And you know what? They are literally a dying breed. You know, our women, when you meet them, immediately they're judged for the content of their character. Not the shape of their behind, not the deception, that most women use today by putting a mask on of makeup and luring men through the lust of the flesh. No, no, no. Immediately, when you talk to our sisters, you're going to see a light. And not only you're going to see a light, but you're going to be able to tell that they got it going on up here. They're very sane and rational people. They don't have this mental illness where they think that they have to have female domination. They're not the kind of people that's going to run to the system and try to force people's hand. You know, I had somebody the other day come to, somebody called the police on our people. They were having a prayer meeting. 3 sisters was having a prayer meeting. And it was the next door neighbor. Now, mind you, the next door neighbor has a mentally challenged daughter. She just opens up people's doors, walks in the house, she screams, she hollers, she drews at the mouth, the whole 9 yards. And our Israelite sisters live right next to that, say nothing. They had a prayer meeting, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you get a knock at the door, and there are 3 police cars out there, some marked and unmarked. When they open up the door, and then the police find out that it was a black woman with a head covering on, next thing you know, 3 more police cars show up. Anyway, another brother sees what's going on. He goes over there and immediately intervenes. Now, I know that most people in this society want to be, you want to stick their head into the sand and act like that there's not racism that really truly goes on. But we experience it all the time up here. I see it all the time. You'll see one police car if somebody is called for, be it domestic violence or whatever it is, and they'll be over there. Or if somebody is passing away, one ambulance and no police cars, they'll be there at places. You'll watch it all day long. But up here in this town where I live at, because of the hue and the color of our skin, man, it gives a different response. And mind you, we're not the criminals that is in the newspaper for meth and drugs and murder and killing and stealing and robbing and carjacking and stuff. That's not us. But just because of the color of our skin, we're discriminated against. Racism is out there. Now, they try to hide it and fly it under the radar, but all you have to do is watch their function. Then, of course, the sisters, what they wanted to do, they wanted to hear because somebody reported that a baby was crying for a long, extended period of time. Amazing, isn't it? Watch this. This is the way our sisters handle it. So anyway, the lieutenant called me because they don't want any trouble. I don't know why they think that they're going to get any trouble out of us in the first place. Nobody will get any trouble out of us unless you bring it. And you bring trouble, we will respond. And that's just a fact. We will, because I teach my people that. But it's amazing the racism and the discrimination that goes on up here. Now, when I'm watching for a second, all right, our sister, I finally just get them on the phone and stuff, and she brings her daughter to the door. That wasn't good enough. They had to go in and look, right? So then they try to throw a threat about, well, I'm just going to bring the Child Protection Services. First of all, number one, because we know what we're doing and we know the law. You can bring the threat of a Child Protection Services all day long, but that don't work with us. And you know the reason why it don't work with us? Because we don't have the system's marriage license, and we don't have the system's birth certificate, and they don't have no jurisdiction. And because these sisters, even when they're not married, they're under the authority of the man in the ministry and stuff, they follow their lead. And so guess what? Anyway, the situation was dissolved. But you know the woman who called the police on them, she came out and said, I just wanted to make sure that they wasn't having no exorcisms. Now, mind you, she's the one with the drug problem. She's the one that has the addiction to cigarettes and alcohol and everything else. Her child is drooling at the mouth, mentally challenged and everything else. But she's going to just call the system and they're going to respond with that kind of force. But if it was a white person, that's just a fact. And most people, they get offended when I bring that stuff up. You know why? Because they have not walked in these shoes. And they just want to act like that ain't nothing happened or nothing does happen. Now, suppose if our sisters was out there in the world, you know what they'd be doing? They'd be giving the police a bunch of lip. They'd be sassing out to them and everything else. But our sisters didn't do that. Remain calm. Remain calm and in control. And every one of our sisters are armed too. They're not going to be a victim like you see here on YouTube getting pulled over for traffic stops and then getting fired up and oiled up. No, they are very professional, and they have their wits about them. I said all that to say this, that when you have women who know how to remain in control, even though they're being falsely accused and falsely assessed, you're looking at something that society really needs. Now, what's really happening is that we're following in the footsteps of Rome. You see, I'm a very vocal pastor. I call it just like it is. I don't care who it is. Wrong is wrong and right is right. And if I sense racism, because I know exactly what it is, I call it for what it is. I don't care if it offends you. It makes no difference to me. It's just a fact. But we're not going to be tolerating racism and continue to think that we can be bullied by it, because we're not going to be bullied by it whatsoever at all. But it's just a sad situation in reality. I just thought I'd throw that story in there because that came up in my mind. But our women in the ministry of Straightway, they are a dying breed in the world. What I mean by, you're not going to find too many women that are intelligent, that knows what's going on. They know their role as a woman, as a wife, and a mother, and a daughter, and the men know their role. You're not going to find too many men that know their role and then do that role and be the head of their homes. Just a fact. I see us following in the footsteps of Rome, to where there was a moral decay, a spiritual bankruptcy that is going on in society. And I see that any time that a society is dominated by feminists or dominated by females. I mean, think about it. I think it's over in Sweden. I think their whole entire government is dominated by female. Go ask them how they're doing right now. Why? Why I say stuff like this? Because everybody has positions and places. You understand what I mean? But we're going to defy that today. We're going to defy it. I had 2 different stories in this one video. I digressed once. So y'all should at least give me some credit for that. But I had so much information be running around in my mind. Do not marry or do not even entertain a woman that is rebellious, that will backtalk you, that will point her finger at you and shout, that will run to the authorities or whatever. You don't need her. Listen, life is short. We're allotted 70 years, and we may die. Some of us may die. You know, many people may die before that. You may get 80. And you don't have time to be sitting up here in life being dominated by a Jezebel woman and children that are rebellious against you and doing everything they can to strip the manhood out of you because of a wicked, perverse state government system. Free yourself from it. Even if you have to flee the country and go somewhere else. You can see all over the internet that men are going to Brazil. They're going to different places because women behave different across the world than they do in America. America, you know, these ain't even women today. These are things that look like women, but they're nothing but just monsters. A woman of a meek and quiet spirit is of great price in the eyes of the Most High. That's the truth. And that's the truth straightway.